Hello and welcome to Startline, brought to you by the Manx Motorcycle Club. I'm Beth Espy and this podcast is about everything road racing, both on the Isle of Man and further afield. From the races and the teams to the organisers and officials, it is all here on Startline. Well, welcome to the Startline podcast. Thank you so much for downloading this episode. And this week we've got another brilliant MGP newcomer for you. Aaron West is from Colorado. He's raced in the US Endurance Series. He's won a national championship. And later this year, he will be making his debut on the mountain course here on the Isle of Man. And I think what makes Aaron's story so fascinating is where it all started, because he didn't grow up racing bikes. He didn't even grow up riding bicycles. He was a professional ice hockey player. He watched the TT highlights at his dad's house when he was around 19 and just decided there and then that was what he wanted to do. So then he learnt to ride a bicycle first of all, then bought a motorbike, started chasing this dream, and now that dream has brought him all the way here to the Isle of Man. And we talk about all of that journey, the discipline he's carried over from ice hockey, the reality of learning the mountain course from the other side of the world, and we also talk about the Disney Teacups ride. It'll all become clear. Here's Aaron West.
I'm from Colorado, USA, and I race for Endless Motorsports. And I come from a U.S. racing background. I raced in the U.S. Endurance Series last season, and we won the national championship with that. And now I'm racing at the Manx Grand Prix in 2026.
How then, Aaron, did you first hear about the Manx Grand Prix, I suppose, is my first question.
Well, funny story with that. That's actually the reason that I ever rode a bicycle or a motorcycle was the Isle of Man as an event. So I had never learned how to ride a bicycle growing up because I was a professional ice hockey player and I never needed to learn how to ride a bicycle. I just rollerbladed everywhere. And so I walked into my dad's house one day, I was 19, and he was watching some highlights from the TT. And I said, "Dad, what's that?" He said, "Oh, it's this race with a bunch of crazy Brits that they all ride around in circles and kill themselves and whatever." And I was like, "Cool, I want to do it." So he said, "Well, you got to learn how to ride a bicycle first before you could do that." So I went and grabbed the bicycle in his garage. I rode up and down the street, and I think I bought my first bike the next day.
Was it easy for you to learn to ride a bike? I suppose you were used to the balance sort of thing if you've been blading everywhere.
Yeah, I think it was more determination that got me up and down the street than actually knowing what I was doing, but it was enough that I felt confident in buying a motorcycle.
So what happened with the ice hockey side of things then?
I played professional for 6 years in the NHL as a practice player, and one day I was just like, you know what, I'm not getting any younger, and so I retired from doing that. We weren't allowed to ride anything with a motor aside from a car playing professional ice hockey. It was a non-compete power sports clause, what they called it. And we weren't allowed to ride ATVs, snowmobiles, motorcycles. So naturally I did anyways. And I just realized like I couldn't race properly how I needed to race to be able to come here without actually doing that. You know, I needed to just do it full time.
And so giving that up when it's been such a big part of your life, I guess it must have been tough in some ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. I miss it every day, but I still get to play occasionally on weekends and whatever. And the racing is so all encompassing at this point that I miss it, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And I wonder if the other side of it is because you had perhaps such strict rules with it, and obviously, you know, it must have been so intense when it came to training and whatever. Suddenly having a little bit more freedom perhaps might have been a good thing.
If I got more freedom, it would have been. But I think I took the same discipline that came from ice hockey and I just carried it over into racing. So, you know, the diet, the workout schedule, all of it all just transferred over into racing.
Where did that determination come from? Is that something that's been passed down in the family?
Yeah, I think it is a familial thing. Not so much in sport, but my brother's a super genius. He is actively working on curing cancer, and yeah, he's really smart. He's got a PhD, double masters, and my mother was a lawyer, and my father was the man that held the whole family together while she was sick. So the whole family is a really successful and determined and driven family. It got passed down for sure.
And that's so incredibly important in this sport, isn't it? That sort of that drive, that goal setting, I suppose, for yourself.
It wouldn't be possible to do any of this without having that mentality. If you don't wake up in the morning and have the motivation and the steam to go and pursue your dreams and your goals, it'll never happen.
What was your dad's reaction to all of this then?
He was excited on the outside. I think on the inside, he's been a little apprehensive. And there's been a little bit of a sticking his head in the sand, I think, as well, hoping that it just comes and goes and he doesn't have to notice.
That's not going to happen though, is it?
No, I'm gonna drag him here, and he loves visiting here. I brought him here for his first time 3 years ago now, and he had never been out of the country, and he just fell in love with it. He bought a motorcycle here, and we go and visit the La Mona Lisa to get dinner. It's one of his favorite places in the world now. So he loves it here, but I think it's a little different when your child's racing it.
Yeah, I can imagine that. When was your first time over here?
2022. It was a pretty bad year for the TT that year. And I came over, I think, just for the very last day. And it was the day that they had to move the senior forward a day. And aside from all the happenings that happened that year, I got lucky because I was able to come in and marshal, and it really changed the experience because, instead of being just sitting on a stone wall and bikes going by and whatever, I got to actually be with a group of marshals, and they were all talking about the race and the updates. And not only that, but the best part of it is that you're 6 inches from the bikes. So that was my first experience, and it really glued me to it.
And that's the thing, isn't it? You either, I suppose, really think this is for me or not at that point when you're so close to it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I've heard that with a lot of the talented riders that have come over that I know and have raced in America. They say, you show up and you know it or you don't. And either you just have to do it or you think it's cool, but you're never going to touch it.
So 19-year-old you then, you learnt to ride a bike, next day bought a motorbike. What journey did your progression through the sport then take?
A lot of it was just getting comfortable being on two wheels because that was such an alien thing to me. So a lot of it was just riding around on streets and doing parking lot drills and doing kart track days, and then graduating to big track days finally in 2023, I believe. And probably the biggest help that I had along the way is in America, we have the California Superbike School. And that was the first big track experience I had. And I didn't want to start with a bad foundation. And so I went out with them, and they really from the ground up said, okay, here's what your eyes should be doing. Here's what your body positioning should be like. And that was the best place to start, the best thing I could have done for my motorcycle racing career. And started there, and then went to club racing, and then moved up to the National Endurance Series and won that.
Well, it's not too bad, is it? Not too bad.
It wasn't bad at all, nope.
I mean, it's all very good, I suppose, the physicality of it and the learning to ride and your style and whatever. We know, again, that a lot of this sport is about the mental preparation as well. Yeah, absolutely. And the sport is very involved in the mental preparation, but I think here specifically, it's 80% of the importance, knowing where you're going and really having an understanding for the little intricacies of the circuit. And that all comes down to mental preparation. And if you had to pinpoint what it is that makes you want to do it, would you be able to, do you think?
I don't think so, but I don't think any of us could. I think that there's just a love and a passion there that you just can't get it out. It's so special and so amazing.
I suppose for some people it's the adrenaline, it's the speed, but it sounds like perhaps for you it's that element of competition and that sort of that self-progression as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the other things that is so appealing with the TT and with the Manx is that it's not you against other motorcycles in the same sense that it's a mass start, but it's really you against you. It's you against the clock and how hard you're willing to push yourself to get around the track. And that to me, it's like boxing, it's you against you. It's not you against other riders.
So you won that championship then. At what point did you think Manx Grand Prix was going to be on the horizon?
I think the second I swung my leg over a motorcycle is when I was really like, man, this is going to happen. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. I had applied 2 years ago and got turned down. And so then this last year I applied again, and it wasn't so much this has to happen, I'm going to force it. But it was I've had a great season. We won a national championship, and that in and of itself was a really great and special experience. And if I get the Manx, then that's fantastic. And if not, then we'll keep having great special experiences until I get it. And never at any point was it I don't care if I get the Manx. That was always the goal. But just more that I really enjoyed myself along the way.
And again, you have to have such resilience in this sport, don't you? Because not every decision's going to go your way, and you have to handle that disappointment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think even just corner to corner, some days you're going to show up in a corner and someone's going to cut your nose off, and it just is what it is. You have to keep riding. And then, some days you're going to get turned down from the race of a lifetime, and you just do it again next year.
And you did it again, and you got the email through, presumably telling you that you had been successful with your expression of interest. Do you remember where you were when you got that?
I was in line at Disney World, and I was about to get on a ride, and I saw the email come through, and I think I just stood there blocking the line for probably about 2-3 minutes, kind of processing. And then I turned to my wife and I was like, can you look at this? She thought I was joking. So she was like, come on, can we go? Can we go? And I was like, no, really, you need to read this. And finally she read it, and there was a lot of emotions going on. And so she just bottled it and said, we're holding up the line. Come on, let's go.
Did you go on the ride?
We went on the ride. Yep. I don't think I actually remember going on the ride, though.
Was it a scary ride, or, one of those little more genteel ones?
I think it was the teacups.
Okay. Where do you start then with preparation from your point of view, living so far away to come over here to race?
Preparation starts years in advance in a ideal world. The course takes so long to really understand and learn. So ideally, I showed up for the newcomers weekend with the track fully memorized. I knew what corner was where, and it really helped learn the finer details, like where the camber and the grade of the road are going, and this spray painted marker is the turn-in point. Without having the base knowledge of it, you'll never take that info in. So I think you're always going to be learning the circuit. I don't think there's ever going to be I have it perfect. I would be shocked if Peter Hickman or Dean Harrison said, oh yeah, I have the circuit perfect, because they're always going to want to keep growing and developing and trying new stuff.
I suppose the circuit changes as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Well, even this year we showed it for the newcomer weekend, and there was a big tree that had been cut down on the going down Bray Hill. And that was one of the biggest markers for the riders going down Bray Hill, and it's just gone. So got to find new stuff.
And you said you came in and had every sort of corner memorized. How did you do that?
Playing the Xbox a lot. There's a lot of playing the Xbox, and also watching the videos on YouTube. But when I came over here with my dad in 2024 and he bought the bike, I bought a bike as well. So I had been spinning laps for years trying to get a good grasp on the circuit. So it's all the little pieces. Watching videos of Milky just talking about the circuit, and it's a whole bunch of little things that add up.
I guess when you've watched all those videos and then you meet Milky in person, it just must be brilliant. He is one of the most incredible people, and his enthusiasm and his genuine desire just to help everybody else achieve their dream. It's just infectious, isn't it?
He is so special, and what he's done for this race and for this sport has been just paramount to it. And I think meeting him was a little bit like kind of meeting your hero, but not in the bad way. It's like I've been watching the man on my TV for 2 years straight, and then all of a sudden there he is swearing up a storm in front of me, and it was a really special experience doing that.
Do you know where the Milky nickname comes from?
I've been told the story, yeah, a couple times, but it doesn't register because we don't have the Milky
Bar,
bars.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't have those in America, so.
Yeah, he really does look like the Milky Bar kid. That's all you need to know. So you came in for that newcomers weekend. I guess meeting other people in exactly the same position and forming those friendships must be quite a key part of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That was something that I was excited to come over and meet some of the other newcomers because everybody has such a different background, and getting the chance to meet some of the folks that were there was really, really cool. And we spent a lot of time in the cars doing laps, so it was a very intimate setting with them. And it was great. We got to hang out with Iliam, Milky's son. That was cool. And we ended up making good friends with another gentleman that's over in Ireland. He told us to come visit on vacation to his house out there. We've never been to Ireland, so that'll be cool. So yeah, it's a good atmosphere, good environment, good people.
But the reality is, Aaron, it takes you, well, I don't know, how long does it take you to get over here?
About 9 hours to Dublin and another hour to get over here. And that's if we fly direct, which some days there aren't direct flights. So to get out to the TT, it took us about 15, 14 hours, something like that. So it'll put some hair on your chest.
I just don't want to think about the time that you spent travelling, but clearly it's so important for you to be over here, and even as you say, you're here for TT at the moment and presumably been out and done some laps as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be nice if the weather was a little bit better for it.
It was all right last week, wasn't it?
It was great last week. Yeah, it's going over the mountain during the TT is a little harrowing because there's so many people that think that they know where they're going and then shoot themselves off the mountain, but is what it is. Just gotta avoid them.
So talk to us then about your setup for MGP and what you're going to be riding and how that's going to work.
So I'm riding in both the sport bike and the super sport categories. In the sport bike category, I'm bringing over 2 Aprilia RS 660s, and in the super sport category, I'm bringing over 2 Kawasaki ZX6Rs.
So you've got one spare just in case?
One spare just in case. Yeah, that was my crew over in the States. They're all guys from the top teams in Moto America. They're all superbike guys. And we really ran with the philosophy that we want this to be as close to a superbike team as we can get it, in the sense that the bikes are perfectly prepped and we have spares if we need it, and spare bikes, and whatever we need is set up and ready to go. So, we don't have the giant semi truck with the catering and all that, but we do have 4 identical bikes that, if I manage to wad one up down the circuit and get up and brush it off, I can just hop on the next one and keep going.
So how are you getting them here?
We put all 4 bikes in a van. It's a Ford Transit, and we couldn't get them in there straight, so we had to put them in sideways. And my father built wooden skis for them so that we could take the wheels off to get them in sideways. And we have them back to back to back to back in the van. And we've got all the tents and the coolers and everything else loaded in between.
And they're going to get here when?
Hopefully late June, early July.
And where are they going to be?
The bikes ship into Southampton, and Gus Turner from Isle of Man Storage is going and flying out to Southampton, driving the van to Liverpool, and then taking it across on the steam packet and keeping it at Isle of Man Bike Storage.
That's brilliant. I mean, how did that come about from a conversation? Were you on the lookout for someone?
My dad actually met Gus when he was looking for somewhere to store these bikes that we had bought over here. And Gus has been paramount in helping me out with both learning the circuit, because he works with Mark Parrott and Grant Thompson. So he's had me get in touch with those guys, and they've helped a little bit. And Gus has just been a godsend for me in getting all the logistics figured out. And even little things like in America, the plugs are different. And so I have no way to connect to the paddock power here. So, just sending me photos of this is what the plugs are, and then I can figure out how to build adapters, and just the little logistics he's been a godsend.
I love that you've seen that side of the Isle of Man already, that people really just want to do whatever they can to help.
Absolutely. It is a full environment like that here. Every single person is just phenomenal like that. I went down to Ballygarry, which, according to Milky, is the most important corner on the circuit. And I wanted to watch from there one of the nights of the TT. And I kept asking people, hey, can I sit here and watch? Hey, can I sit here and watch? And everybody was nice enough. They said, "Oh, we're full, but maybe ask this person." And finally, I knocked on a woman's door and I said, "Hey, can I watch here?" And she said, "Oh yeah, absolutely," and pulled out a pop-up chair for me and grabbed drinks and earpieces, and it was just it was the most friendly, hospitable thing. And then we got to talking, and it turns out she knows everybody in the paddock and has just been so helpful since then. So she's been putting me in touch with ex-riders and trying to get cameras for learning laps while I'm here, and just anything I need. She has just been the nicest human, and that's just how everyone here is. It's just such a great environment.
I'm intrigued to know what it was like for you watching at Balagary, because, obviously known affectionately as Balascary. It is quite a corner to watch.
Absolutely. If anybody gets a chance to go there, it's worth watching from there. And the bikes come in and you just think there's no shot that they're going to be able to make that corner, and then they do. It's amazing.
Can you even begin to sort of comprehend the idea that not too long away from now, that's going to be you doing that?
Yeah, I think so. I think mentally I've been doing it enough in my mind over and over and over that there's the little kid, wow, this is amazing spectator standpoint. And then there's okay, they're braking at the speed limit sign, they tip in here, they get back on the throttle here, their apexes. And I think it's just two different mentalities. And it's good not to lose that little kid mentality of being excited about it, but also it's important to have that other rider's mentality of this is exactly how they're analyzing and breaking down this corner piece by piece by piece, because every corner has its own multi-step process to get through.
Obviously, all this costs a lot of money. We'll talk about sponsorship and your support in just a moment. Is this your full-time career, or have you got a job that you're working as well? Yep,
racing is my full-time career. I'm really lucky to be able to do it.
That's amazing. And I think, again, sort of goes back to just how focused you are, doesn't it?
Absolutely. If I didn't have all the amazing sponsors, all the amazing help, all of it, it just wouldn't be possible.
How did you go about getting that support then?
My wife ended up sending out emails to different companies for weeks on end. She sent out probably 100 emails every day, and she would cater it to every company and say, "Hey, we want to run your products because so-and-so." And we probably had about a 1% response rate. So, it wasn't particularly lucrative, but the opportunities that we get from people writing back and saying, "Hey, this is something that would interest us," and we get on the horn with them and talk with them on the phone. Those people that have the faith in what we're doing here, and likewise, I believe in the products that I'm running. We didn't even bother emailing anybody that didn't seem like a worthwhile product to run. It's been a really good situation to have these companies that believe in me and I believe in them, and we get some bikes that go down the road pretty well.
So who have you got supporting you?
Endless Motorsports is my title sponsor. They're the guys that have been with me since day one, and they run a steakhouse and supercar dealership and maintenance facility. So if you ever want to get a good steak in Colorado and check out some supercars at the same time, that's a great spot to.
Are you a steak fan?
I love steak. Steak, chicken, fish, you name it, I'll eat it. I love it. Speed Effects is the company that makes my bikes look phenomenal. And I just give them free rein. I say, whatever you want to do, just make it look good. And they'll send me a proof in a couple weeks, and every time they hit it, they do a great job. Throttle and Therapy is the clothing line that keeps me warm on the aisle, since it's always so cold.
Oh, this isn't cold, this is warm.
This isn't cold to you? Oh my God, my nose is running. But if it does get cold, Cold Start Coffee will keep you warm. KD Productions is a YouTube brand that they help me with a lot of the media and the filming and such. But the most important thing to keeping the bike running, the motor happy, is the motor oil. So AMSOIL has been actually formulating a new blend to go in race bikes. So we're actually going to be testing some of the oil here and sending it back to the factory, and they'll analyze and see how it's getting down the road. But once it's getting down the road and it gets covered in bugs, Adams Polishes has been keeping the bike plenty clean. And eventually, when I break something, Performance Cycle of Colorado gets me all the new parts that I need.
I love the polish thing. Honestly, after TT and seeing some of the riders coming in and all the flies on their helmet and on their leathers, I don't think we've got any flies left here.
You would think, wouldn't you? But okay, that brings me to something else. We were here and somebody said something about midgies. I'd never heard of a midgie before. We don't have those in the States. So I had to figure out, I thought it was a mosquito, but they're apparently a little smaller and bite less.
Bit bitey still.
Bitey, yeah, not pleasant.
You mentioned your wife. Is she into bikes generally, or is it just because of you?
She is not really into bikes, but the reason that she started going out with me is she wanted to go fast. And I said, well, I got fast cars, fast bikes. What do you want to go in? And then I picked her up for our first date, and it was snowy, so we didn't get to go fast.
So you took her to Disneyland and put her on the teacups.
Yeah, she liked that well enough, so I guess she's stuck with me now.
You mentioned during the sort of support, talking about YouTube, the social media side of things we know is so important these days. I'm guessing that's something that you don't mind doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think that was one of the things that helped me a lot with getting into the Manx is having a good social media presence, because at the end of the day, it's not what can the Manx do for me, it's what can I do for the Manx. And being able to promote that to as many people as possible definitely helps.
What is it when people watch your stuff online? What is it that you want them to take away from it?
I want them to be able to really understand what's happening. I always try to bring a top level film crew so that everything that's going on and, the races and, on boards with the bikes. And we just really want everything to be high quality, high production so that it's an enjoyable watch for everybody to get on there and check out. So I think for the endurance series, we were running 5 cameras on every bike with creative and unique angles to be able to capture things so that it wasn't just another 30-second motorcycle clip, but something that was actually intriguing and engaging for people to see.
And then just thinking about your team, you mentioned the team you have back home. Are they all coming with you for the Manx?
They are, yep. Yeah, we're flying everybody out.
Will it be some of their first times over here?
I don't think there's anybody here that has been there before, so it's going to be a pretty special thing for a lot of them. I know they're all very, very excited to come over. And with that said, I am still bringing some Manx locals to help out with the wrenching side of things, because there are little intricacies to the course of, I went through here and I got a wobble. Well, that just happens, as opposed to if it's my guys, they're going to, try 10 different things and just not be able to fix it, because that's just what happens. So.
Do you know what? It just sounds so fascinating. We can't wait to see you over here. Where can people find you on socials?
On socials, on Instagram, I am Aaron West Official, and Facebook should be the same.
Perfect. And when it comes to the tent, you mentioned no sort of catering. Will we be able to get steak? That's the big question.
Absolutely. If there's no steak, I'm not coming.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Aaron.
Thank you very much.
A huge thank you to Aaron West for joining me on the Startline podcast. And you know what I really loved about that conversation was the mix of excitement and seriousness, because I think you can really hear, can't you, that little kid enthusiasm in him when he talks about the TT and the Manx. But you can also clearly hear just how much preparation, discipline and thought is going into this. From learning to ride after watching those TT highlights to winning a national endurance championship, studying the mountain course corner by corner from thousands of miles away. This is a truly remarkable journey, and we'll be following Aaron's progress as he builds towards the MGP, and you can find him on social media. We'll put those links on the podcast page. And as ever, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We are on social media, so if you can give the Startline Road Racing podcast a follow, that would be amazing. And I'll talk to you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Startline, brought to you by the Manx Motorcycle Club. If you would like to be involved in a future episode, you can find me on social media, or you can drop me an email. It's beth@startline.im. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.